Take out a banknote. Look at it. It is backed by nothing. No gold, no silver. No metal in a vault anywhere on Earth. Just a promise. And that has only been true for a little over 50 years. For thousands of years before that, money was something you could weigh. Then, on a single evening in 1971, a president went on television and quietly killed the old idea of money. He did it to pay for a war he was losing. And you are still covering the bill, every single time prices rise. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you will never look at the cash in your pocket the same way again. There is an old rule about war. There are only 3 ways to pay for one: you raise taxes, you borrow, or you print new money. Taxes are the honest way because people feel them, and people who feel the cost start asking whether the war is worth it. By the mid-1960s, America did not want anyone asking. It wanted 2 things at once: a vast war in Vietnam and a great society at home. Guns and butter, the critics called it, both at the same time, and neither one properly paid for. So Washington borrowed, and it created dollars. Quietly. But there was a problem, and it was locked inside a vault. Since 1944, the dollar had sat at the center of the world economy. The deal was simple. Foreign governments held dollars, and America promised that any dollar could be swapped for gold at $35 an ounce. The dollar was as good as gold because it was gold on demand. That promise only works if you do not print too many dollars. America was now printing a great many. And foreign governments could count. They could see there were now more dollars in the world than there was gold in America to honor them. So they started asking for the metal. France went first. It turned its dollars into gold and sent ships across the Atlantic to carry the bullion home. Others lined up behind it. The vaults began to empty. By 1971, America was staring at something it could not stop. A run. Not on a bank. On the dollar itself. On the 15th of August, 1971, Richard Nixon went on television and closed the window. No more gold. The dollar could no longer be exchanged for metal, by anyone. He called it temporary. It was permanent. In that one broadcast, money stopped being a claim on something real, and became something stranger. A promise about a promise. And not only for America, for the entire world. So if gold no longer stood behind your money, what did? The answer is uncomfortable. What backs modern money is trust. Trust that the government will not wreck it, and that the central bank will say no, and stop printing, when politicians want more. Sometimes they say no. In a war, or a crisis, they almost never do. Because here is what 1971 really unleashed. Once money is backed by nothing you can touch, there is no hard limit on how much you can make. The break became a choice, not a law of nature. And the oldest reason in history to take that break off is the one that started this whole story. War. So look at the last few years: a pandemic, wars returning to Europe and the Middle East, government spending on a scale the old rules would never have permitted, and central banks creating the money to pay for it. And then, right on cue, prices rise. Your weekly shop, your rent, your energy bill. That is not bad luck. That is the machine, doing exactly what it was built to do. Inflation is simply the quietest way for a government to tax you without ever sending you the bill. And notice what the world is now doing about it. Central banks are buying gold at the fastest pace in over half a century, more than 1,000 tons a year, every year, since 2022. Others insist a digital coin with a fixed supply is the new gold, precisely because no government can ever print more of it. 50 years after America tore up the old limit, the world is quietly hunting for a new one. So the next time someone tells you inflation is a mystery, remember the jungle, the television broadcast, and the promise that was broken on an August evening in 1971. Real money did not die in a market crash. It died to pay for a war. And the bill still arrives, every month, in the prices you pay. Understand the past, and the present stops looking random. If you want more history that explains the world you actually live in, subscribe. There is a great deal more where this came from.